Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy is set to meet with President Biden in Washington before addressing a joint meeting of Congress. It's believed to be the first time Zelenskyy has left his country since the start of the war, and it comes as Congress is considering $45 billion in funding for Ukraine. ABC's Britt Clennett joins me live from Kyiv, along with ABC's Jay O'Brien on Capitol Hill for more. So, Britt, I'll start with you. Why is Zelenskyy coming to Washington, and why now?
Well, it's an incredibly important part in the war. And, you know, it's hugely significant because this is the first time he's left since Russia invaded in February. You know, he was in Bakhmut yesterday, the hottest point on the 800-mile-long front line. One day in Bakhmut, the next he's in Washington. And it really goes to show how determined he is to rally support and for the war effort and the resistance effort. You know, what are his goals? Quite obviously, he wants more weapons from the U.S. You know, officials recently told us they'd be seeking more long-range and precise weapons from the U.S. And it really comes as heavy fighting continues in the east and south, and there's growing fears of a potential attack from the north. You know, Putin met with Belarusian leader Lukashenko yesterday, and the Ukrainians are warning an attack could happen within the next few weeks or even months. The question is it a bluff to divert resources and manpower from the southern front lines? That's the part that's just not clear. You know, the US says there's no sign yet that Belarus would be directly involved in this war, but they say they are monitoring. You know, Putin today even said he's training 150,000 reservists for this war, and he said all their stated goals will be completed.
Well, Jay, officials telling ABC News the U.S. is expected to announce the next military aid package for Ukraine will include Patriot air defense systems and precision bomb kits. U.S. officials had not been open to providing those kinds of weapons until recently. So what changed?
The administration get more and more comfortable with the kinds of weapons it's sent to Ukraine over the last few months since the Russian invasion. We saw it with those long-range HIMARS rocket systems that were sent to Ukrainian troops. The Patriot missiles are to intercept ballistic missiles, among other things, so they are in response to some of the Russian missile attacks we've seen on civilian targets in Ukraine. Now, the decision to send this kind of weaponry is the administration's decision, but the money appropriated to those overall efforts of the U.S. funding that Ukrainian resistance against the Russian invasion, that money, a lot of it, is appropriated by Congress. There's $45 billion for it in the next omnibus bill that the Senate's looking at now that'll eventually go to the House in theory. So the decision to send that kind of weaponry is the administration's, but the money comes from Congress, and we have seen resistance, particularly from House Republicans, who are set to take power in November to sending money to Ukraine. So the question becomes, when House Republicans take power, what is the ongoing stance that the U.S. has to Ukrainian aid, and is there still bipartisan support for the kind of money that the United States government sends to the Ukrainians?
All right, that is key. So, Britt, this visit by Zelenskyy to the U.S. comes after he made an unannounced trip to the front lines. What do we know about what he saw there, and what is the latest on the fighting?
Right, Bakhmut. Well, there's heavy fighting underway there, and both sides claim they've caused significant casualties. Ukraine reported making gains there. Meanwhile, heavy shelling and artillery warfare continues in the south. You know, Russia said today priority is to take back the right bank of Kherson in 2023. Kherson really is a case in point. You know, Ukraine has shown it can use U.S. weapons effectively. You know, they managed to push Russian troops out of Kherson City, the only regional capital that Russia occupied and even claimed as its own. You know, the Patriot batteries are very welcome. Ukraine has been asking for these since the beginning of the war, and they say these sophisticated systems are essential for it to defend itself.
All right, Jay O'Brien, Britt Clennett, thank you.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.